Have you ever shed tears over a single, tiny word? The journey of parenthood doesn't begin with a first step, it begins with the tender, wobbly sound of daddy and mommy. A heartwarming story that stirs love in its purest form, waiting to touch your soul. Henry and Lytuky, a young, loving couple, are enjoying a peaceful life with their adorable twin daughters, Hannah and Ivy. One sunny afternoon, something magical happens. For the very first time, Hannah calls out Daddy, followed shortly by Ivy whispering Mommy. Though the words are still babyish and imperfect, they strike a deep chord in the hearts of both parents. That sacred moment marks not only a milestone for the children, but a turning point for Henry and Lytuky themselves, the moment they truly become mom and dad. That night, as they cradle their daughters in their arms, a quiet realization settles in. From now on, even the smallest things in life will feel sacred, simply because they are touched by the love carried in those two little words, Mom and Dad. If you're a fan of tender, heartwarming family stories, don't forget to follow us so you won't miss the next chapter in the journey of Henry, Lytuky, Hannah, and Ivy. The morning sunlight filtered softly through the glass windows, spilling over the honey-toned wooden floor of a small house nestled in a quiet suburban neighborhood. Birds chirped in the distance, like a gentle overture for a new day full of hope. The air carried the comforting scent of warm milk and toasted bread, simple things that somehow made everything feel whole. Lytuky sat cross-legged on the soft rug in the living room, gently cradling her twin daughters, Hannah and Ivy. Dressed in tiny pastel dresses, Hannah was still half asleep, sucking her thumb dreamily, while Ivy excitedly waved her hands, bouncing to the cheerful music coming from a light-up toy keyboard beside her. You know, today marks 10 months since you two came into our world, Lytuky whispered with a smile, as her fingers brushed softly through Hannah's fine baby hair. From the kitchen came the sound of clinking spoons and the warm hum of the kettle. Henry, her husband, was busy preparing 2 small bottles of milk. The morning sun spilled across his tousled hair and worn t-shirt, making him look at once ordinary and beautiful. Ever since the twins were born, he had taken it upon himself to prepare their morning bottles, a quiet ritual that never failed to warm her heart. He emerged from the kitchen, holding 2 warm bottles, and gently placed them on the table before kneeling beside the trio on the floor. "Anything new with our 2 princesses today?" he asked, a soft smile lighting up his tired face, eyes rimmed with dark circles from too many sleepless nights. Lytuky let out a small laugh, her gaze soft and full of love. "I think Hannah almost said something this morning. I could swear she tried to say Ma." Henry's eyes widened as he sat down beside Hannah, excitement flickering across his face. He looked into his daughter's big round eyes, as if hoping to catch a miracle in motion. "Are you serious? Are you sure? Oh wow, if she really did say it," he whispered, voice trembling slightly with emotion. "I'm not completely sure," Lytuky admitted with a gentle smile. "It might have just been a random sound. But I don't know. It felt like she was really trying to tell me something. Like a little door was about to open." Hannah suddenly looked up, her tiny hand reaching for Henry's face, and let out a string of baby babble. Both parents held their breath, but it wasn't quite it. Just soft, scattered sounds, drifting like a breeze. Even so, their hearts swelled, not with disappointment, but with something deeper, a quiet love growing with every moment. "They're growing so fast," Henry murmured, planting a gentle kiss on Hannah's forehead. "They are," Lytuky replied, her eyes drifting toward the wall, where sunlight painted soft golden shapes. "Just a little longer, and they'll call us by the two most beautiful words in the world." They sat there in silence, saying nothing more. Just watching their daughters, waiting. It wasn't an impatient wait, it was quiet, reverent, filled with unspoken love. The kind of waiting only parents know, when they're on the brink of witnessing something truly magical. It was a simple, peaceful morning. Yet in their hearts, something was quietly blooming, a soft overture to a future melody, a lullaby made of two tiny words, Daddy and Mommy. That afternoon, the weather was gentle. A soft breeze rustled through the leaves outside, carrying the scent of fresh grass and a hint of fading sunlight on the porch. Inside the house, the whole family gathered together, not needing to go anywhere, just quietly enjoying a warm, familiar moment at home. On the soft, cotton rug in the living room, Henry lay on his back, holding up a plush bear toy and making silly voices to make his daughters laugh. Lytuky sat nearby, organizing colorful wooden puzzle pieces while keeping an eye on Ivy, who was busy fumbling with a baby-friendly Rubik's Cube. Hannah was crawling around, exploring her little world. Suddenly, Hannah stopped. She pushed herself up with her tiny arms, lifted her head, and looked straight at Henry. Her round eyes sparkled like drops of water, catching the warm glow of the afternoon sun. Then, like someone had pressed the button to start a miracle, she opened her mouth and spoke a clear, though slightly wobbly, sound. D-D-Y. Henry froze. For a split second, he thought he'd imagined it. But the way Hannah looked at him and giggled with glee, he knew it wasn't a mistake. Did you hear that?" He turned to Lytuky, eyes wide with disbelief. She dropped the toys in her hands and rushed over. "She did. Hannah just called you. Daddy, she really said it." The room fell into a kind of quiet magic. Henry bent down and scooped Hannah into his arms, heart pounding like a drum. One word, Daddy, yet to him, it meant everything. It was joy condensed from months of exhaustion, a reward for all the sleepless nights, and the sweetest proof of the love he poured into their little family. Before they could recover, Ivy, perhaps not wanting to be outdone by her sister, crawled toward her mother and murmured softly, Mommy." Lytuky froze. She lifted Ivy into her arms, held her close, and let the tears roll silently down her cheeks. "You called me, didn't you? I'm here. I'm your mommy." The two simple words, Daddy and Mommy, were far from perfect in pronunciation. But to Henry and Lytuky, they were the most sacred, the most beautiful sounds they had ever heard. In that moment, every hardship, every moment of doubt, melted away under the magic of those first calls. Henry wrapped his arms around all three of them. I never thought just one word could make me feel like the whole world just opened up in front of me. Lytuky nodded, resting her head on his shoulder, her voice trembling. Now I believe angels really do exist. Outside, the sun was already setting. The golden light of dusk stretched across the sky like a velvet ribbon. But inside Henry and Lytuky's hearts, the sun was just rising, lit by the first sacred words spoken by the little souls they loved most in this world. That evening, after the girls had been bathed and dressed in their pajamas, the house became unusually quiet. No more clinking toys, no more cheerful giggles or nursery rhymes playing softly in the background. Only the warm yellow glow of the nightlight spilled softly across the room, and two parents gently rocking their daughters to sleep. Hannah lay curled up in Henry's arms, her tiny fingers still clutching the hem of his shirt, mouth occasionally sucking softly, as if reliving the comfort of the day. Ivy was nestled against Lytuky's chest, squirming lightly with drowsy eyes, not yet ready to surrender to sleep. Lytuky hummed a lullaby, her voice gentle as a whisper, rocking her baby in a soothing rhythm. Today will be a day I'll never forget, Lytuky whispered, eyes gazing into the distance as if holding on to something fragile. Henry turned to look at her, his expression soft and calm, like the moonlight slipping through the window. For me, today felt like a second birthday. Not for the girls, but for us. For the first time, we were truly called Dad and Mom. Lytuky chuckled quietly, the sound filled with warmth. She looked at Henry, then down at Ivy, whose tiny face was slowly relaxing into sleep. I used to imagine this moment so many times. During pregnancy, during late-night feedings, even while changing diapers in the dark, I would wonder, when will I hear my baby call me Mom? Henry nodded, gently stroking Hannah's fine hair. And now it's happened. Just one word, but it makes all the exhaustion melt away. The peace in the room felt sacred. They kept their voices low, almost afraid that raising them might shatter the magic lingering in the air. The night wasn't even late, but it felt like they had just passed a threshold, a turning point that would forever shift the way they saw the world. Our babies are growing up, Lytuky said softly, her hand instinctively rubbing Ivy's back in a slow, familiar motion. They are, and from now on, every day will be a new journey. They'll learn to walk, to talk more, to ask questions, to cry over the tiniest things. And one day, they'll learn to love, and step away from our arms. Lytuky added, her voice catching just a little. Henry gave her hand a gentle squeeze. But tonight, we still get to hold on to this moment. Today, they call us Dad and Mom, their very first words. That's a beginning. Not just the start of their growth, but the beginning of our own journey as parents. Lytuky smiled through the tears welling in her eyes, her face glowing in the soft light. I think, no matter how many people they'll call in their lives, Dad and Mom will always be the most beautiful. because those were the first words they ever spoke, pure, full of love. Henry leaned down and kissed Hannah's forehead, then turned and placed a gentle kiss on Lytukye's hair. "Thank you for building this little world with me." Outside, the city slept quietly under a blanket of streetlights. But inside that small home, something sacred had been born, not through tears, but through the very first, love-filled words of two tiny souls. "Daddy," "Mommy." The story of Henry, Lytuky, and their twin daughters Hannah and Ivy truly touched my heart. Just a simple, wobbly dad and mom carry so much sacred happiness and emotion. It reminds me that in our busy and often practical lives, there are small moments that hold a whole world of love. Family bonds, especially between parents and children, make us gentler and kinder. Through Henry's tender gaze and Lytuky's emotional tears, I deeply feel the true meaning of the word family. This is not just a story but a heartfelt reminder of the value of the simplest and most sincere things in life.